Welcome to Linkprana Stories. Welcome back again to Linkprana Stories. Welcome to Linkprana Stories. Welcome back to Linkprana Stories. We are live. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to all of you, whichever part of the world you're tuning in. Tell us how your day was. Here I am yet again, another episode with another fabulous guest today who have made it to the top, shared their expertise, their strength to just uplift everyone across the world. Today's episode is indeed a very, very, very special episode. Are you ready for it? Welcome to Linkprana Stories. Welcome back again to Linkprana Stories. Welcome to Linkprana Stories. Welcome back to Linkprana Stories. We are live.
I really believe that bootstrapping is a process where every founder or every founder to be must go through.
Well, Tony Fernandez at my age, at 40 years old, he already start asking money for hundreds of millions, and I'm just asking for a few millions. It's still not a big deal for me.
I seriously love failure, and you cannot imagine how much I love failure. I look at failure as such a big blessing to me, I am so thankful that when I fail, because it just means that I'm going to be so much better the next time.
If you have all the money in the world, if you have all the time in the world, what will you spend your time and your money to do?
Hello everyone, welcome to Linkprana Stories. I am so excited to see all of you right here, right now, watching us live on this episode of Linkprana. We are back again with the Tuesday episodes, guys. We heard you, we went for Saturday, then we heard you back again, and now we are here on Tuesday to share with you amazing story, but this time not of one, but two wonderful people today. Who are they going to be? Many of you already know it, and many are still figuring out who they are. Guys, my caption has it, so here's a hint for you. But before that, I'm excited to see how the week is turning up for all of you. So tell me, how's the week been? And guys, from which part of the world are you tuning in? Hey, Krishan, I can see you online as well. For everybody else, just a quick hi. Drop me a hi in the comment section, and as well as from which part of the world are you watching us right here, right now. Also, a big question of the day. Who's the next person? Who is the guest? Who is the guest? I know, I'm going to tell to all of you. But before that, guys, do make sure you hit the share button and share this video with everybody possible, because these two guests who are coming in today are going to be sharing about their journey. How has their success been a role, and what has empathy to do in that? They come from companies who are giants in Southeast Asia and across the world as well. Also, the two individuals have had their own struggles, own joy, and own roller coaster ride of running the business. For everybody who's joining us today for the first time, let me tell you what is Linkprana Stories. Linkprana Stories is a simple yet real-time, real stories coming to you in just 20 minutes, one single story. So it's a live talk show, one of its kind in Malaysia, where we host business mindsets from across the globe to help you guys get to where they are today. So hearing it from them directly Let's get started with the show, and I am excited to see all of you today. Guess what, guys? We will be able to display your comments on the screen. We have been able to display comments. Hi, Webhub. Hi, Krishan. I can see another LinkedIn user, but I'm not sure of the name, guys. You have to activate it. It's lovely to see all of you. Hi, Yeoh. Nice to have all of you. Tell me from which part of the world you are in, and I hope you guys are all staying safe. With this, let me also invite my business partner who is going to tell us who's going to be the guest tonight. But before that, don't forget to share the video, guys. Hit the share button. Now, you might be also wondering, Kush, you're asking us to share the video, which is great. Of course, we will be sharing knowledge with our network. But what's our reward? What are we getting? So let me tell you guys, we are also coming up with something amazing for the first time ever. Is for every single person who is sharing this video and tagging 3 of their friends will get a copy of 7 golden rules to rock your LinkedIn profile from us in just next 24 hours. So for everybody who shares it and tag 3 people, they will get this. So everything has a reward when you're watching us live, guys. Thank you so much for all the love. Let's invite my business partner, Anil Meghani, right up on the stage to tell us who is that amazing guest that's joining us today.
Hello,
Hi, Anil.
everyone. Hi, Coach. Thank you so much. And before I do that, let me say hello to all the lovely people out there. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to some of you guys. Yes, we are back with our season 2, episode 5, and with some 2 lovely people. And let's talk about the first guest on the show. He is an entrepreneur and a venture investor and acts as a digital transformation catalyst in organizations to drive sustainable change and impact. After pursuing a major in computer engineering and a minor in technopreneur from the National University of Singapore, popularly known as NUS, he kickstarted his career in Singapore to drive the international trade promotion for this island state called Singapore. He started his entrepreneurial journey with Happy Marketer in 2011, where he spent a decade building and scaling up one of the best and the most awarded independent digital marketing services firm in the region. In Feb 2019, he had a successful exit when Happy Marketer was sold to an American digital enterprise called Merkle, which is a part of Dentsu Aegis Network, the largest Japanese advertising conglomerate. He is currently serving as the managing director of the CRM group of Dentsu Singapore. And let's put all our hands and welcome a very close and a dear friend whom I know close to about 3+ years now, Prantik Mazumdar.
Hey guys, hi Kushbu. Hi Anil, thank you so much for such a lovely introduction, and I just love the energy on your show. Great to be back.
It's lovely to have you back. Thank you, Anil, for the wonderful introduction. Let's hear it from Prantik. Hi, Prantik. It's wonderful to be with us. And it's not your first time. I do know that you were with us on the season 1. But that time we got to know the marketing mindset. We didn't know your story. We didn't get to know who is Prantik. Though I know a little bit about you and so much have you spoken. But today it's all for our guest and the amazing audience out there. And to everybody who's watching us, guys, do you know something? As always, we promise you to bring audiences questions. It still remains. You still have an option to ask Prantik any questions that is to do with Singapore, marketing, business, investment, investor, even about exits and taking your business from 1 to 100 to 1,000. He's the guy who is not just saying it. I'm telling you guys, he has done it. Well proven. So there's someone who comes as a practitioner. Welcome to the show, Prantik. I had promised to my guests and to all the audiences here that the first question which I'm going to ask, so keeping up with that promise, of course, we're going to talk about empathy, which is the biggest excitement for me. What is that one thing? If I tell you, Prantik, if I take you back in the last 20 years of your life, what would you change in the last 20 years? What would be your take on that?
I think it's quite an easy one. If I was to change something, I wish I started my entrepreneurial journey earlier. I started, as Anil said, only in 2011. That's about 6 years into my career. Again, hindsight is 2020, but in hindsight, I wish I had started it whilst I was in university. Not that it's a regret, but if I had the chance to rewind, I would definitely tell a younger Prantik to have started earlier.
You do have a younger Prantik, so I am sure. I'm
Fingers
sure.
crossed.
Yes, absolutely. But guys, that's a good takeaway. Today we so many times while off thinking, not today, tomorrow. Maybe today is not the right time. Maybe I'm not prepared. Maybe this is not what I think I can do well or does justice to. Just hear it from Prantik. He want to go back and he want to do it early, right?
Absolutely. No two ways about it. There is, I really think we humans overthink, overplan. And if someone wants to do it, I really think it's today, it's now. You never know what's coming 4 years, 5 years later. And life, generally speaking, only gets more complicated and harder. So
No, that makes complete sense, Prantik. Life do gets complicated and harder. I always thought that as I grow older, it will be a lot more simpler, but I am sure that that was delusional by every passing day. But yes, it's a different fun altogether. And Prantik, as the last few years with Happy Marketer and growing, and then the exit, and then Dentsu, and all of these journey has been something that have always been a kind of a dream for an entrepreneur, that he not only grows his company, but it company gets to a level where it's applauded by an international company that yes, we would like to acquire. Was it something that was up your mind when you actually started Happy Marketers, or it just happened? Was it a planned thing, or it just happened?
it just happened. And I think that's important for people to know is I think it's a bit philosophical, but if you start chasing something too much, it starts eluding you. And I think it's important for startups that, of course, exits and financial metrics matter. But when you're starting, I don't think that should be the only goal that, hey, I need to get it acquired or I need to have an exit in 3 years or 5 years. At that point in time, I think what matters the most and what you need to be very passionate about is what problem am I solving? Who does the problem really affect? Am I solving that problem in a very meaningful manner? And of course, is it making money for the business, right? And I think if you focus on the process than the outcome, I think because people need to realize that there are a lot of things that are not in our control. But what's in our control? Empathy is one of them. Solving problems is one of them. Focusing on the process, on the discipline is one of them, right? So I think it's important to enjoy the process. It could be a struggle. It could be, sometimes the process could be boring, doesn't matter. But as long as you believe in the cause, I think it's important to stick to the process, keep evolving the process. I really, really genuinely believe the results will take care of itself. In our case, Happy Marketer, when Rachit and I, kind of in the early days, we were a services company, right? We're not a product company, so there's no funding. It's all driven by client money or whatever little money we had that we had to reinvest now and then. And there was no exited plan. In fact, I remember that when we look at the business plan, even 1 year before the exit, we had a 25-year plan. We said, we were young guys just dreaming out. We said, here are companies that turned $1 billion in 30 years. You know what? If you run this for 30 years, we might get there. Let's kind of keep chugging along, right? Because again, the point is when you're dreaming, why be miserly in your dreams, right? You can dream.
I think exactly. I have three beautiful takeaways from here, which definitely one is trust the process. Just this month, we completed 3 years for Beyond 99 and we celebrated its birthday. And one of the core things which I have learned, and it has so deep value within me, is trusting the process. Sometimes you do not know why something is happening. And just thinking about the big picture, it just makes you miss the small steps and makes you run to it, which you'll definitely fall because you're not going in the right way. And more than ever, I would say the miser mindset. I mean, why do you even need that? Thinking big is no worries. But big thing that I would want to take away for our audiences here specifically, guys, Prantik did not say, I want an exit on 3 years, I want to become a billionaire in 5 years or in 8 years. No, he had a proper plan for 30 years. So you can see the patience, the persistence behind that plan. Right now, I see so many people who want to get into entrepreneurial journey just because they're reading the success of some of the founders and co-founders, and they're like, oh, they made it to the list in just such a short period of time. They did it, that's great, but doesn't mean that you get just not sure about planning for long term, and having that kind of a patience is beautiful, Prantik. I have to add to this, Prantik. You mentioned Rachit. Now, you have some wonderful partners, but not everyone is blessed to have great partners. Neither it's easy to find them. And beyond that, even if you get them, it gets even more difficult to be able to go smoothly with the journey. Sometimes it can be as simple like a slice of cake. So what is your take? How did the partnership come into play?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. In business, I think trust and partnership is absolutely critical. So I think with Rachit, I lucked out. So our story is we know each other. This year will be 20 years since we met in college on day one. So we were friends first, business partners later. And that also worries people, right? That should you do business with friends?
Yes.
And we thought a lot about it. He, of course, approached me. I was quite cautious, but my realization was, I asked him this question and he said, look, what's the worst? We won't be friends after a few years, right? At least let's try and build a business and make some money in the process. But jokes apart, I think, but at the same time, let me tell you that we've had our share issues, not between Rachit and me, but we've had two other partners where we've had issues and, we've had to kind of deal with them. It's a very, very difficult process. So I think if you're getting into a partnership, especially when it involves equity discussion, I've had this chat with Anil separately, it's important to kind of clarify expectations, get it in writing. So we've had our fair share of good and bad. But I think with Rachit, I think one line that my takeaway is, I think what really matters is two things. One is commonality in values, but differences in skills. So I think it's very important that certain values and mindsets bind you, but your skill sets, your roles, I think it's good to have some diversity and a healthy respect that, you do your thing, I'll do mine. Just let's blindly trust each other. That's paramount. Otherwise, I don't think it would work out.
I think it's so true. Now, as we are expanding and we are having more partners coming in business, Anil is there, myself, and Chief. I know that this is so important that we are able to see the same vision, same value, and alongside, we must not do the same work, because that will just backfire for the entire business. And I think it's just about the right fit. But truly, I would really want the audiences to even understand that the fun is in the trying, then into just scaring it off so much that you don't even go. Because I love what Rachit said. What's the max that would happen? So just the worst case is we won't be friends, right? And that's okay, but you would have a huge amount of experience to go further in life. And that's beautiful. Kudos to you, Rachit, if you're listening. So with this, Prantik, of course, Happy Marketer, which is a marketing space and it's a service space. Personally, my Beyond 99 is a service-based company. So I relate with how sometimes service-based companies have bigger struggles. I don't want to say that the product don't have it, but they have bigger struggles in terms of the funding, in terms of growth, in terms of scaling, because it's very much dependent on the quality and as well as the clients coming in. So my first question to you is, why marketing? Why did you get into this space?
Yeah, very good one. Actually, we didn't get into marketing. To be honest, marketing happened to us because, as you know, both Rachit and I come from a computer science background. All we knew when we were starting up, and this is just after the financial crisis, we were just a bunch of tech folks who knew how to build websites. We knew a bit of SEO and analytics, and we could drive traffic. To be honest, we didn't even know that what we did was classified as agency. 2 years down the road, someone said, hey, you guys are a marketing agency. And at that time, honestly, we didn't care. We were like, yeah, we'll be whatever it takes as long as you're willing to pay us. I can be an agency, I can be a tech company, doesn't matter. But I think you make a very good point about why marketing, because it was just the demand that we saw at that point in time, that digital was just beginning. Clients were willing to kind of look at digitizing their marketing. That's the only reason. But now if I look back at the 10 years, every 2 years we have pivoted to something else beyond marketing. So we have done a lot of consulting, we have done a lot of training, we have done some product development. So yes, the name Happy Marketer remains, but I think what's important is to stay relevant and true to where the demand in the industry is. So, and to be honest, I think one of the reasons we succeeded here is because we kind of are misfits in the world of marketing, because most of the happy marketers are not trained marketers, which means there's a lot of open space in their mind for us to kind of nurture them and train them and cultivate that mindset and bring different diversity of opinions. So and we've made it a conscious choice that we wouldn't want to hire trained marketers necessarily, because then you're kind of boxed in a particular way of thinking.
Oh man, Prantik, I so relate with this, because we ourselves, so in my early days, we actually hired one of the person who was a trained one, and the rest of the team was by chance not trained. And I was more believer of hiring people who believe in learning and are passionate about growing, are passionate about picking up marketing as a skill, and they want to take into that dive. Trust me, I had to let go the person who was well trained in the first 3 months itself. And after that, ever since, we've always had people who come from the learning mindset, growth mindset, but not from the absolutely certificate mindset, let's just say. Yeah. So I truly relate with that. So, Prantik, as we are going further, let me give a quick shout out to everybody who has joined us now. So all the people who have joined us now, welcome to Linkpreneur Stories, guys. My first guest is Prantik Mazumdar from Singapore, and he is, okay, I'm not going to tell you anything about him. Go to his profile and find it out. We have already given a beautiful, beautiful introduction, but trust me, he's a gem of a person. I love the heart he has and the work he has done for Southeast Asia. Also, guys, your questions will come to him. So if you have a question, bring it up in the comment section, and do not forget to share the video. You always say just sharing. No, this time you have a reward too. Guys, share, and I'm going to give you a reward in your inbox very soon. Just make sure you share it. But with this, Prantik, coming back to you, it's walking into, like, when you started Happy Marketers, when this actually came into existence. If I have to ask you, one of the biggest challenge that you remember today across your journey of the first 6 years, or even if I narrow it down, of the first 3 years, which is always said to be one of the most difficult time for any business, what would you point it out? And I would love to know, how did you come out of that?
Sure. I think I'll never forget two incidents, both relate to cash. So talking about service businesses, the bloodline is cash, right? We don't have investments. The only money that helps us survive is if a client pays us. So the two challenges, the first was a very large, well-known education brand, who I shall not name, chose not to pay us despite us having delivered the entire piece of work. And this was year 3. And this was a $95,000 contract, our largest for the year on paper. So, we're all excited. We're going to close the year on a high, but wait for it, the client decides not to pay. So suddenly we have hired people, we have paid our costs, we have delivered the project, and we are minus 95, right? So that's one. And the second was due to a little bit of a tough economic market, sometime I think maybe 5-6 years ago, where we actually had cash issues. And I remember, every morning I wake up to our cash balance. So I get an SMS from the OCBC bank. Usually it's at a decent level. We try to kind of be prudent and keep the balance for a few months. But there was a point in time that we woke up to 200 Sing dollars. And that was rather scary. And so these issues, one due to economic challenges, in general, and the other was a client not paying. I think for most service businesses, when you are out of cash or nearly out of cash, that's a big, big worry. And the way we did it was, I think, two ways, right? From the first client, the lesson was easy. We of course had cash in the bank then, but our lesson was very simple. We will not ever take a client without advance payments, right? So it was a lesson in discipline and prudence that no matter how big the brand is, if you're signing up someone, we will take, let's say, 10, 15, something upfront, right? The second for cash flow was, I think, there's a book that I would recommend everyone. It really changed our life. It's called Profit First. You know, it applies to your personal life and your business. Is when you get your salary, it's always good to kind of pay yourself first. Imagine you worked hard for 30 days. Typically, what I used to do is I would pay all the bills, spend
Correct,
money,
exactly. This is what
whatever
happens.
remains. You save, and typically nothing remains or very little remains. If you flip the equation, you decide how much you want to save. So you say, I want to save 30%. Take the 30%, save it, and the rest 70 spend guilt-free. That's a lesson the book taught us even for our business. It asks you to decide how much profit do you want to make this year. 10%, 20, 30, whatever it is, you keep it aside as your profit first, and the rest is all you have to spend. And as I've learned, with time and money, you will figure out a way to make do with whatever you have, right? It's like homework. If the teacher gives you 1 day or 7 days, if they give you 7 days, you will take 7 days, right?
Yeah.
So my lesson there is, I think, to all entrepreneurs, especially in the services business where profitability is key, is focus on profit first and
I love
manage
that.
cash flow.
Exactly. I mean, I think that's a wonderful, wonderful book. And guys, you must go and check it out. Of course, I would love to hear so much about even empathy from you and how did even Dentsu happen. But before that, are you ready for a quick rapid fire?
Let's go.
Okay, awesome, Prantik. Let's do a quick rapid fire.
Let's do that.
Okay, so we're going to play your den, and I'm excited to know something amazing about you, which I wouldn't know till today, and our guest also. One hobby that you practice very occasionally.
I think there's a hobby that I generally, people who know me would know me for cricket, sports, etc. But something that I try and do for myself, and people may not know, is my love and habit for reading or consuming content around topics. Every 6 months, a new topic. So, for example, now I'm quite interested to learn about blockchain and crypto or NFT. So I would surround myself with goodness, a system that I've created for myself to, meet people in that arena, or follow LinkedIn or Facebook pages that talk about those topics, or subscribe to Substack or Spotify, a podcast around that topic. So I would wake up every day and I would consume a lot of content, be it in videos, blogs, articles, whatever. And then I would have a habit of kind of creating my POV and my opinion around that topic. And then I would find spaces to talk about it or share it. So that's my way of surrounding myself with goodness so that I can kind of consume content and build my knowledge, but more importantly, have a crystallized point of view.
Wow, I think, guys, that's your secret of creating content on LinkedIn. Now you know how to do it, consume, and if you actually put it out, I also feel, Prantik, that it remains in our heart and mind for a longer period of time because we have made an attempt to deliver it to someone, which increases the efficiency immediately. Then the next question is, what is that one guilty pleasure that you have?
It's a Bengali sweet called Mishti Doi, sweet curd. I would love to have that. I just absolutely devour it, love it.
I think a lot of us have food as one of the guilty pleasures. One thing in life you're super proud of?
I think at this juncture, I'm really proud of the fact that it's a very small thing, but the fact that I'm able to spend a lot of good quality time with my child and my wife. And in a weird way, thanks to the lockdown, I think I've done a lot of silly, stupid traveling in the pre-COVID, and in a very weird way, I'm happy that I can spend time at home with my family. at the same time, even with myself, even going for my daily runs, etc., I'm really happy and proud of that simple joy.
So, guys, for the ones who did not know, Prantik was in a spree, a 30-day spree, and he's reached day 21. Of course, you can hear it from the voice. His throat is kind of not in the state to continue for the next 2-3 days. But that 21-day spree is amazing. Go and follow his ride. He inspires enough for you to get up and not be a lazy bum anymore and go out and run. Trust me, that does happen when you see his content. Apart from that, of course, guys, for everybody who's watching, tell us one question that you have for Prantik in the comment section. And between, don't forget to tell me which part of the world. So many of you are watching. I want to know from where, man. Of course, Prantik, with this, coming back to the rapid fire, which kind of is no more a rapid fire, but I am loving to discover about you. And that fun still remains with me. Prantik, tell me one big learning as a father that you had and which can be of great value for every single parent who's watching us right now.
I think a couple of things that come to mind is, one is, I just love how children forgive and forget. So, every time I would, let's say, try and discipline my son, for 5 minutes, he'll look at me in a weird way. He'll probably nod, be quiet, be sad, but he'll completely forget and forgive, and he's moved on. So I love the way kids move on. That's one. And the other thing is, I just love the way how they learn. So they could be learning while watching you, imitating you, or while playing. I just love the playfulness of their learning. So those two things, I think, to any parent, absolutely, learn that from your kid, but also encourage them to kind of experiment, play, and playful learning is absolute fun.
Wow, that's wonderful, Prantik. I think forget and forgive. Sometimes we carry so much of baggage with us. We as adults don't do what our kids are able to do it. Guys, this is your moment to realize what a 4-year-old is capable of doing and not us. Do you really want to keep that going? Don't do that, guys. But finally, Prantik, I would love to know a book or a podcast or a medium of knowledge that you would like to recommend to our audiences to hop onto, because something that you believe is goodness around you, surround with goodness. So what is that goodness source?
Yeah, it's a mixed bag for me depending on topic. But if there are a couple of things that I would, a book and a podcast. So I think I'm a big, I quite like reading or watching videos of Peter Thiel. I think I may not agree with all his views, but I think as an investor, as a business owner, as a founder, incredible. I think 0 to 1 was brilliant. So I think that's a book that I would recommend. There's a particular newsletter that a couple of newsletters that I really look forward to every week. One is from Scott Galloway, No Mercy, No Malice, absolute brilliant and open writing. And the other one is, it's from, that name's kind of skipping my mind. It's David Miller. Yeah. So again, he writes about the thesis of ideation, creativity, and writing. So I think these are two, Scott Galloway, Peter Thiel. I think they, inspire me no matter what format. So I'm big fans of them.
Lovely. I think, Prantik, that's beautiful. And of course, we are wrapping up our rapid fire with all the amazing answers that you have made. No rapid, but fire. Yes, definitely. But with this, Prantik, I will bring up a question from Chief, who is basically, of course, we as a company are going into an expansion right now. And I think that's why he chose a very interesting question for you. What, according to you, is the right time to go for expansion? Is the time for expansion? What do you think about it? How did you come to know that, yes, you're ready?
Yeah, I think first things first, one has to decide two things. How do you define expansion? Is it by industry, by geography, by more people? And also genuinely ask, why do you need to expand, right? A lot of people expand because it's an egotistic boost that I have offices in 10 cities. And that's fine. As long as you admit it, if that matters, that's fine. Because you must remember that, there are companies that are small, yet have succeeded. As an example, WhatsApp, right? Or Instagram, when they kind of had their exits, less than 50 people, right?
Yeah.
If 50 people, companies can create $1 billion valuations, it's worth asking yourself, why do I need to expand? If you have a clear answer, that, you know what, it's like for us, we knew as Happy Marketer that we had to expand by geography. So we moved from Singapore to Brunei to Philippines to Indonesia because we knew we had figured out the business model. Now it was about expanding to make more profits, right? So we wanted to find more profitable centers where we could grow, right? So that was one. The other one was internal expansion. So we expanded our delivery team across Philippines, India, relatively low cost market where we could find good talent. So yeah, one was for driving efficiency in delivery and profitability, and one was for driving top line revenue growth.
Correct. So it was both top line and bottom line. So it was strategically defined in that manner. I love that, guys. I hope you're taking notes of it. I mean, literally, there's so much that is blowing and flowing out here. Of course, we're running short of time, Prantik, but if you can, I would very quickly take this last question, which is coming in from Chirag, and he says, hey, Prantik, pleasure to hear from you and your perspective on the business side of it. Would love to know how to create a balance between personal finance and business revenue in terms of money. I think you did touch upon this from the book perspective, and I love that. But yes, do you want to just deep dive in very quickly?
Yeah, I think first things first, keep two separate accounts. Secondly, I think I think it's important as a business owner that you have common principles of operation, but I think personal finance and business finance can and should be separate, especially if you're in partnership, if you're running a business in partnership with someone. Absolutely. Even if it's with your spouse or family members, keep it completely separate. But the philosophy of profit first that I mentioned, I think that can apply. The philosophy of potentially raising capital or nowadays there are so many different ways of raising either debt or equity. Those can apply. But at the same time, I would never recommend that from a finance perspective that you have a common account or a common structure. Keep that separate. Of course, figure out what's the best way for you to pay yourself. It could be through dividends or salary or capital gain, whatever, right? But keep it separate.
Guys, big takeaways today. And with this, Prantik, loving the energy that you're bringing in, I want to ask the final question before the interesting segment that we're going to walk in. So for our audiences, guys, there's going to be a twist to how Linkpreneur stories have happened. And today we are having something super amazing. Hold up to know another few minutes and you're going to find out. But before that, Prantik, one big question of the day, which I would love to ask. And this was not a question we planned. It was a question that came in one of our episodes and actually an audience asked, but it stuck to us so bad that we literally feel like asking many times on our show. And I want to ask you, what is that one thing that you want to be remembered for?
I think the one thing that I want to be remembered for is being approachable and helpful. I think that's something that really matters to me is, doesn't matter whether I'm successful monetarily or not. I think if I can be useful and if I can be accessible and reachable to people to help out, whether through a phone call or being on the ground, I'm good with that.
You're getting my call.
My WhatsApp number is on LinkedIn, so I'm generally called an open book, so I have no issues of being approached and being accessible.
Wow, that's beautiful, Prantik. And with this, thank you so much for all the wonderful sharing. Of course, I will put you in the green room for a few minutes, but stay tuned. You're going to be back. And for everybody, guys, don't be sad. Prantik is not going anywhere. He's going to be back. But this time, it's going to be different. We are going to reveal it very soon. Prantik, see you very shortly.
Thank you. See you soon.
So, guys, what is this? How it's going to be like? And what's going to happen next? Prantik shared about his journey from starting to Singapore to Happy Marketers to Dentsu and more. But his 3 pillars of success: empathy, the journey of entrepreneurship, and the expansion. What's going to happen about that? A lot of things, guys. Let me bring in my partner here. Hey, Anil.
I can see that you're having fun with the audience and keeping them on their toes. Yeah. Excitement. I love that. Building up that excitement.
Absolutely, Anil. So I'm super excited for this session because this session was something we just interestingly, I mean, over a random conversation, we came up and I said, let's do it. So guys, Remember, do tell us whether you're loving it or not, because we want to know it from you, and then make sure we keep this going. If you like it, if you love it, more and more and more. And if you don't, then of course, we'll change it, guys. There is always a better way to do something. But with this, Anil, do you want to also tell our audience who is our next guest for the day before we get into our special section?
Of course, I'm super excited to welcome the next guest on the show. He is currently the co-founder of Fave, Southeast Asia's leading O2O, that is online to offline e-commerce market leader. Before starting Fave, he led regional operations for Groupon APAC, moving up the ranks, joining us as the COO of Groupon Malaysia and then Taiwan in 2012. Prior to Groupon, he was a product manager at jobstreet.com and a management consultant at Accenture, one of the big fours. He is a graduate of prestigious Cornell University and an Eisenhower Fellow. Outside of work, he is very, very passionate about youth empowerment with involvement in various non-profit organizations such as the Worldwide Malaysian Students Network, Young Corporate Malaysians, and many more. Recently, he has been in the news for something he will share with us very soon. Let's welcome another friend whom I know from almost 2019, Chen Chow, popularly known as CC.
Yes, guys, and let me tell you, how many of you would have already made that guess? Now, there's something that's super interesting has happened, which is bound to happen when we go online. Guys, Chencha was with us almost the entire time, but just when we were ready to pull him up on the screen, his internet dropped. So I think these kind of interesting things are bound to happen when you are online. And that's what makes us real. That's what makes the story go live, really. With this, of course, he is back. But guys, tell us what exactly was he in news? Make that guess in the comment section. Why was he in news? Anything good, anything bad, guys? Tell us in the comments. I'm sure you will guess it super fast. But with this, calling in him. But before that, before I get CC on screen, guys, what is that interesting segment? You're also going to find out right here, right now. It is going to be a double trouble round. A double trouble round where both our guests are going to join us together. So along with CC, there's going to be Prantik right up on the stage, and they are going to share their opinion about entrepreneurship and empathy. Does they go along together? It is going to be a knockout, guys. Are you ready for it? Let's go for a double trouble. Welcome, CC, to the show. It's wonderful to have you on Linkron Stories.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. Looking forward to be here.
Likewise. Welcome back, Prantik and Anil. Are we ready for the double trouble round?
Yes, but yes, before the double trouble, we want to ask them something, right? Go ahead, Kush.
Absolutely. I know both of you people for such a long period of time. And I still remember, like, Prantik, when the first time we had our conversation, and CC, I think we come from spending our weekends at university empowering youth, and that was the time when I met you first. The passion that both of you had towards delivering value with little to no expectations at all was something that has always stuck in my mind for both of you. But today, I would love to understand one thing. We're talking about 3 success pillars. And of course, the success comes in from expansion, from running a business. But is empathy a success pillar or not? I would love it to hear from each one of you. Starting from CC. CC, have empathy played a role in your journey in any way? Or is it something that you can actually skip past and still have a successful journey at work and at business?
Yeah, I think empathy is definitely something that's very, very important, right? And I think the way I look at it is that a lot of times when we are not sure what is the right thing to do, I think a lot of times it's just ask our heart and say what we wish others do unto us if we are in their shoes, right? So a lot of times in this entrepreneurship journey, I think there will be a lot of ups and downs. More importantly, there's lots of down and a lot of tough decisions that you have to go through where you're not sure what's the right decision. And a lot of hindsight is 2020. But at that moment, what's the right thing to do? And I think a lot of time empathy plays a big part, right? You reflect back and say, if I'm in that person's shoe, what I wish the company do to me, what I wish the founders done to me, what I wish the managers, the leaders done to me, right? So that's something how I see it. And I think a lot of times in those kind of decisions, how I do it is that I'll split into two parts. What decision to be made, it has to be logical with the data, with reasoning and all those things. But once you have made that decision, right, how do you do it? That's where the empathy came about, right? For example, you have to do layoff, right? Should you do a layoff or not? That has to be a logical decision, right? You have to take your emotion aside, empathy aside, and say, should the company do layoff? But once you have decided that based on all the facts and data that you need to do a layoff, how do you do that layoff? That's where the empathy and emotion and everything comes to play. And I think do unto others how you wish others do unto you.
I love that thought, CC, and wonderful example. Because of this pandemic times, I think layoff has been one of the biggest topics, and bringing in as an example is a beautiful put. I still remember Airbnb laying off stories and in the PRs and everything, and it's what has made them stand out. But at the same time, Prantik, so CC, I take a yes from your side for empathy, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, Prantik, let's hear it from you. What's your take with your journey of Dentsu and Happy Marketer?
I mean, the summary is it's a resounding yes, right? And I think it stems from, I think it's a wonderful way that CC described is how do you do something, right? And I think to me, it begins with how do you define what's empathy? A lot of times people tend to misunderstand empathy with sympathy, right? And it's important to kind of distinguish the two, right? I think empathy is all about being relatable, to kind of understand, what you may be going through. And I think there are a lot of use cases. I think layoff is a very critical one. The other is also on a normal day-to-day basis when you're dealing with clients, something as simple as trying to relate and understand client requirement. It's one thing what they write in a brief, but it's another to understand the body language, the emotions. Are you able to relate to a client? That needs empathy. The questions you ask to dig out further, that needs empathy. The tonality to kind of gauge that needs some sort of empathy. So I think there are so many use cases, be it client engagement, be it creating a culture within an organization, whether it's laying off. Like, for example, an example I'll never forget is one of our employees had kind of made a pretty big overspending error. Young chap, a typical big corporation, he or she would have been fired by the logical approach. But again, the founders, we started relooking at it, saying, hey, is there an alternative approach? Because as long as we know that the intention was obviously not malicious, can we do something to ensure that the person's career is not affected, right? So we kind of gave him another chance. And guess what? We probably bought his and his family's loyalty for a long, long time, right? So sometimes empathy can also give you an alternate perspective to logical decisions. So I absolutely agree with CC that empathy is a core ingredient of in any industry, in any business.
Awesome, Prantik, and thank you so much for answering that. Yes, Kush, sorry, you were saying something.
No, I really wanted to bring to everyone's notice that many times we feel like to be running a business, to be growing big, for expansions, you have to take hard decisions. And very well put by both of them is hard decisions are part and parcel. Doesn't mean it's a no for hard decisions, but there's a method of making everything. It's a how factor, and empathy is what defines or stands you out. And even I feel that it comes back to you in some or other way. Not that you should do it with expectations, but I still feel that when you have shown empathy in some way or the other, when you need it, you will have the same people standing by you when the times are hard for oneself. So this is how I see it as a whole circle. Anything you want to add, Anil?
So nothing. Based on this, again, I want to kind of quickly take a quick feedback from both of them because since it's about empathy, it's about entrepreneurship. So quickly, I'll ask CC again. So for me, of course, when I was an entrepreneur and when I always thought the grass on the other side is always greener. But the moment I jumped onto the entrepreneur side, I realized it cannot be a hunky-dory life. Life is not easy. And since you both have been entrepreneurs for a long time, CC is like me, where he's jumped from a job to entrepreneurship. So he resonate. I resonate with CC a lot. So when I say entrepreneurship is there is always failures, and we always say failures is part of success. So one situation, CC, which you kind of recollect when I talk about failure in entrepreneurship, what is that one incident which comes to your mind quickly?
I think
Prantik, do you want to go quickly at this?
yes, a
So
failure
just
situation.
a
Yes.
failure situation.
Failure
Oh,
situation.
I think, plenty. A couple that come to my mind is, not being able to hire the talent that we wanted, right? So there were a couple of, very good people that we were pursuing, but for whatever reason, we could not get them on board. Of course, not being able to, win a client. Or I remember a particular year. So we've generally had a pretty good run with awards, but there was one year where we were nominated, I believe, for at least 12 categories, but we won only one award that night. Heartbreaking. So I think there are plenty of such moments that, unless you ask, hardly ever get talked about in the media, obviously. So there's probably tons of micro failures every other week.
And CC, what would that failure be for you in your journey?
Yeah, I think that there are lots of it, right? So I think, for example, I think a lot of times when people, let's say in the startups, that we think of, okay, when people talk about, okay, the company's so and so fundraise, you get raised 20 million, 10 million, 100 million, whatever amount, right? And a lot of times behind the scene was actually lots of failures, right? Yes, we did raise Series B, Series A, etc. But behind the scene, we actually got rejected so many times, right? I think each round we got rejected maybe 50, 100 times to get one investor to accept us, right? And I think that's a reality that maybe not often talk about as well, right? I think that a lot of times people talk about the success only, but I think a
Yes.
lot of times there's a lot of the rejections, and it's about how we take those rejections and stay positive.
I love the thoughts that both of you have shared. So, guys, didn't stop. Look at them. All these failures are natural to happen to you. So please don't give up when you have a employee leaving you, not performing. Overspending is a big thing in the service marketing industry. Or even to say investor saying a no to you, don't want to fund, don't believe in your idea. Believe in yourself. That's the whole idea. They kept on going, and today they have had wonderful exits. So before we get into the knockout session, I want to ask, every exit has a good and the bad side to it, and we do celebrate it. Congratulations to both of you guys. Of course, for Happy Marketer, it's been a few years. For Fave, Pine Life has happened, and it's one of the biggest stories. We know it. But what's the flip side that sometimes we don't see it? I think, CC, you talked about for founders trying a few rounds and then finally landing up. But is there anything that is even sometimes that don't go right with exits as learnings we can take? We're not talking about yours, but let's just say as learnings. What could be the learnings for the exits not going well as well?
Okay, myself first.
Please.
Okay, yeah. So I think that for us, Pine Labs, we were very lucky that I think Pine Labs invested in us last year and eventually acquired us 2 months ago, right? And I think as what Prantik shared as well, it's not something that we planned, right? Actually, we've pretty much, except for the Pine Labs Malaysian leadership side, we actually haven't met whether Amrish, the CEO, or even the folks in India, right? So I think due to COVID, we basically see each other on video and whatnot. And I think we were super lucky that they came to us, and I think that we worked together for a few months when they invested in us, and eventually we all both sides decided that okay, let's go on this journey together, right, for long. So I think I would say the lessons, I think a lot is a chemistry, trust, and I think vision together, and I think a lot is complementary. What are the strengths of each sides, and how do you bring something to the table for both sides, right? So I think in the end, it has to be mutual respect, mutual learning. And I think for us, we have lots to learn from Pine Labs, right? I think they have built a very admirable business. They were very scaling. And I think for us, there's a lot of things that we can pick up from there. And I think a lot of unlearn for us to see what has gotten this point may not get us to next point, and how do you learn through build that. So I think that's sort of where we are at. Yeah.
Lovely, CC. And Prantik, do you have anything to add to this?
Yeah, I think the the cultural alignment part is critical. Maybe one point from my side for a services exit is that in a service exit, it's typically not like I sell and bye bye, right? There is what's called an earnout. You sell 100%, you get some, you got to earn the rest. And I think for that, a lot could go wrong, right? And I think at least in Singapore, with some of my friends who have sold before, there are some horror stories that because they didn't negotiate well, that earnout did not happen, or the cultural integration was not clear, or there was no clarity of the role post earnout. And in fact, to be honest, before our exit, when I asked 5 or 6 of my friends, most were horror stories. So I think to anyone in the services business who is thinking or has been approached for an exit, my recommendation would be to think through life after that, after the day you get in the media that your company has had an exit. That sounds rosy, but if you're going to have an earnout, you better got to prepare all those legal, cultural, financial considerations.
Agree.
That's amazing, guys. So with this, almost the double trouble is coming to an end, but yes, not without a knockout. So what's going to happen? Yes, what's going to happen is going to have a knockout round between CC and Prantik. What we are going to do is, guys, you are going to guess who is behind these hints, the brand, the business, and we're going to share some hints with you. All you need to do, it's kind of a buzzer round, and you are the buzzer yourself. So just hit with the answer. If you crack it in the first hint, just go all out and tell the answer. So it's the knockout round. Are you both ready? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready. CC, are you ready?
We need to give benefit of doubt to CC for the network. Prantik is going to win this game otherwise.
Yes, we really got his thumbs up. Okay, let's do it, guys. Okay. Anil, do you want to take the first hint?
Yes, I can take the first hint. This is a brand which works like Uber.
Grab.
Okay, hold on.
No, just keep guessing, guys. As soon as the first
keep guessing.
Keep guessing.
Grab.
No. We'll give you the second hint. Don't worry.
I love it.
Which we need to give this one answer to the one hint.
Yeah, I am coming with the second hint for you. Despite starting in 2028, recorded the first profit only in 2016.
I repeat that again, despite starting in 2008, recorded the first profits only in 2016.
Airbnb.
Yes, not bad. We could see that Prantik was making a wild guess, but yes, it did happen.
And for the audience,
I think the 2008
$25 billion company. Sorry.
I think 2008 was a big Q, which I googled.
That was a good hint, yeah.
Okay, let's go for the second one. So hear it, guys, for both of you. He is the son of a liquor store owner. It's a person. He's a son of a liquor store owner. That's the first hint.
Okay.
Vijay Mallya?
Okay. No. The second hint is
Tony Fernandez.
Sorry?
Okay, didn't work. Okay.
Started his company in the conference room of Buddy Media. I repeat, started his company in the conference room of Buddy Media.
Okay, I'll go with the third hint. Sold baseball cards and lemonade. Stands at the age of 6.
Branson. Nah.
Baseball cards and lemonades at the age of 6.
Okay, I'll drop I will drop another hint, and this is going to be a big one. He is known to be a hustler, a marketing thought leader.
Gary V. Gary V.
Oh my God, there were people who actually guessed it before. Kudos to a LinkedIn user. The name is not showing. Kudos to Yeoh. Kudos to Nupur. I mean, you guys, Nupur was a question mark, Gary. Question mark. Okay, guys, everybody in the audience's segment, just keep on typing. The last one is here to come. CC, you still got it. Still got it. You have the
You
last
still
one.
can do it. You can still do it.
Yes.
Started in 2012 and now has 57 million users. This is an app. Started in 2012 and now has 57 million users.
Tinder.
Not sure. Kush, you want to go with the second one?
Actually, Anil, Prantik, did you just hide into our computer and try to hack into it? I just want to ask you that. The next hint was going to be competitors are actually a sister company, which is Bumble, and had IPO in November 2015.
Mesh.
It is actually Tinder. It is actually Tinder. Oh my God. No, I think Prantik hacked into our laptops. Now I'm trying to...
No, we can give the benefit of doubt to CC because the network wasn't working. He was giving answers, but you were not able to hear that.
Oh my God. Yes, we have TikTok coming in. We have Mark Cuban as an answer coming in as well. That's amazing, guys. Thank you so much. Both of you were phenomenal. And it's lovely to have both of you. CC, stay with us. Prantik, thank you so much for being on Linkpreneur Stories and sharing your story with us.
Absolutely a pleasure. Thank you so much. I love this format. Really good fun. Looking forward to CC on the stage now. Thank you so much. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you. Guys, everyone, tell us, how was the Double Trouble session? We have to know it to do it again. You're not getting it if you don't like it. Give me a yes in the chat section if you love the Double Trouble. If I get the yes, we're bringing it back again, guys. So, Prantik, thank you so much. And Anil, thank you so much as well. Hey, Cece, it's now you and me, and we're going to uncover so much about you. I'm so excited.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. I hope that my internet will stay on. I think on and off, my internet is giving me some trouble.
I can actually feel it, and I know that was one of the core reasons. I'm guessing you couldn't even hear us in the Guess Who section. But
actually, not true though. I think that Prantik got it win by far. I think that I did hear that during that part. It's just that occasionally in some other parts I couldn't hear it well.
I love you for that reason, Cece. I really do, because I've always seen the humbleness that you have is phenomenal. You could have choose not to say that, but you really went out and mentioned it so clearly. Even though sometimes your screen was blur for me. Honestly, your screen went blur for me. And that's when I recognized probably you're not even able to catch the hints. But I'm glad you did. Now, Cece, getting to know you, your journey from Groupon to Fave, now Pine Labs, I want to know one thing. All this has happened with you, which is phenomenal, and I would love to applaud the success, but has it anything to do with your childhood? You know what? For us, we are a lot what our childhood has defined us. So is there something from your childhood that plays an integral role in your journey of what it looks like today?
Yeah, I would say that we're very lucky for this journey. And I think that for myself, I came from a small town, Nibong Tebal, and in the southern part of Penang mainland. I think grew up there. And I think that one of the things is that I was lucky that after my high school, I got a government scholarships to go to study in US. So that was a sort of something I never expected it. That was actually my first flight of my life when I went to US. So never thought about it. How is it? Just flew on it. Super excited. And when I got to this,
with this, I can ask actually our audiences, how many people are small town girls and guys, men and women? Please tell us, are you from small town? In the comment section with a small town. Go ahead, CC, with your story. There would be so many of us can relate with it.
Yeah, I think, and back then, I think in schools, if you try to speak English, people think that you are trying to show off. So I still remember when I got into uni, and during this orientation week, they gave us an English test, and I was one of the worst English out of 3,000 students. 8 students were chosen as the worst English, and that was how I started my uni life. Yeah, so I think eventually, during the lectures, a lot of times I actually couldn't even understand it, but I was lucky that eventually last through, graduated, and I think came back. So I think that was very lucky to have that opportunity, because the cost of that university education was actually more than my parents' lifetime income.
Oh God, seriously? Oh my God. And that university has played such an important role. You are talking in English like super fluently, and I'm sure the journey would have been one of its kind.
Yeah, I think we're super lucky to get those opportunities to go through, and I think that really, uh, I think that back in universities, I think it was a struggle as well. But I think that looking back, I think that gave me a chance to break through, and I think that helped me in this journey of life.
I'm glad that happened with you. For our audiences, definitely, I can see Mahesh, Yeoh, they coming from small town, and they're sharing that they were from a little school and come from a small place. Yeoh literally has written from the jungle, and the fact is, I know her, and that's how it is, and that's the beauty of how we grow every single time. But with this, of course, I see you always mentioning the lucky side of it. And of course, that's the beauty. But I would also want to say luck doesn't happen every time and to everybody. I always believe that when you see an opportunity in a crisis, when you see things differently, you could have given up. How do I look at it? You could have given up being the last in 3,000 students. You could have chose to come back and say, no, I can't do it. That's not my game. But you actually completed, and you went through that pain of coming from the last and coming up the ladder. CC, has there been incidences or stories of how exactly have you not given up? What is it that makes you not give up to these situations and go through the struggle of learning?
Yeah, so I think that during the journey, I think whether in universities or even later on, I think are there moments that we feel like you want to give up? I think the answer is yes, right? I think that there will always be those tough moments, and I think a lot of time it's just going on through that, and a lot of times there are different friends, even families, people, lecturers, professors, or not that who are there to support you during the tough time, right? And I think that let's say example, let's say during the COVID period last year was a super tough moment for us, and I think that the spirit of all the team, all the investors, supporters, friends, family, and I think everyone were there rallying through, and I think be there to support through. I think that was what helped us through. I think like last year when COVID hit, we had to go through pay cut, actually unpaid leave. I think I was on a zero salary for quite some time, and I think a lot of times it's like going through that. And I think happy to see that the team actually rallied together, volunteered together, and take through what we call one team plan and build through. So I think that a lot of times during the tough times, during those period, I think a lot of time is there are a lot of humanity around that. I think even now, if you look at during COVID period, there are just so many people out there doing something to help. Let's say like today, like different people giving back into different bits into it. I think that helps whole lot, right? Whether in terms of crisis or even pay it forward through. I just saw today one of my colleague AP who was together with us in this whole journey. He just sponsored 4 students in Singapore universities, Singapore universities for a bursary, right? So I think that's something that someone go forward and ash into it and pay it forward and go step through. So I think that's definitely something that I think will help through as we go through.
No, that's beautiful, because CC, so much has happened in the last 1 year. Things have evolved in a great extent, and I do agree. A lot of people had to take zero salary, and I applaud you for being one of them. And today, of course, Fave is now with Pine Labs, and the journey has taken a huge turn, which was something as a big milestone for the entire Fave family. I would love to know, how did this happen? Like, what was the journey like for Fave to get to the point where today we are celebrating this success?
Yeah, so I think over the years, I think there's definitely a lot of ups and downs. I think in 2015, when we left Groupon and started KFit, I think a bunch of the colleagues came together and gave the trust and built together the journey. 2016-17, we got a chance to acquire the Groupon subsidiaries, rebrand into Fave, integration, migration, and whatnot. And I think the journey of building Fave for the last 4 years or so. And I think that 2017, 18, 19, I think was a pretty good year building up through. 2020, definitely the whole thing crashed down. And we were lucky. I think Pine Labs came in at the right time to spot us. I think Amrish was the new CEO at Pine Labs at that time. His wife was a Fave customer, and I think one day he came across Fave through his wife. As his wife was using the phone, and then it was like, "What is this?" And that was how he came about. And then he went to search about it, found that we were both Sequoia portfolio company, and Sequoia did the connection, and I think that's how the first conversation started. And then from there, I think Murdo and a bunch of others from Pine Labs did the connecting, and I think we went through multiple sessions, go through, and they took the bet. They supported us, invested in us during last year when our business was really down. And I think as we worked together over the last few months, they decided to take the plunge again to acquire us. And I think until today, I have never met Amrish, Murdo, they all, except via video, right? And I think that is pretty interesting that is happening.
Exactly, such a huge deal is happening across nations, and I would say it's so interesting that we are trusting people across just through video calls. And kudos to Amrish and Madhu and the entire Pine Labs team, as well as to Faye for this amalgamation and acquisition to happen. With this, of course, I would love to hear what's going to happen next. What should we expect, CC? What's in line for everybody as a Fave user?
Yeah, so I think that definitely we are continuing to building. So I think for Fave users in Southeast Asia, definitely there'll be a few more product services that we continue going to launch very soon. So I think that's one bit. I think in terms of I think product services in Southeast Asia, I think pretty much continue going and hopefully at a better phase and building on. I think we're also bringing Fave to India. So I think that one will be exciting. We're not sure how far we can get to, but I think it'll be interesting to bring a service that Southeast Asians are using into the huge market of India. And I think that's something that will be trial and error and going through. And of course, I think joining a huge unicorn, I think fast growing. So I think there are lots for us to learn and improve in many, many aspects, right? How do we do something? I think that in every day I'm talking to them and hearing what are the things that they have done right and what we can learn from there, right? So I think whether even how to do forecasts, how do you build up our process, how do you build up our projections, how do you build up operating, running it, thinking of EBITDA, thinking of the P&L, thinking of input matrix, thinking of operations, thinking of every bit, right? Vision and whatnot. So I think that a lot of times is how do we think about across, and I think learning through that is definitely something great for us to learn.
I think CC, it'll be super right. Coming from India, I've stayed there. I mean, I'm an Indian girl. I would say Fave expanding to India will be phenomenal because that's a place we definitely love things like this. I can tell you for sure. So Indians are going to have so much fun with Fave coming in. I was an avid Groupon user. I can say that.
Yeah, thanks, Lakush. Yeah, fingers crossed. I think we'll be coming there soon.
Myself, fingers crossed. But yes, with this CC, I personally, I have known you for so long, and I've always seen you delivering value outside. I want to know what makes you even do that, because you can choose to be spending the same time on just leisuring, like, or even to just lying down, relaxing, watching. But I see you on universities. I've seen you collaborating with companies, sharing your story, empowering others. I would love to know what makes you do that.
Yeah, so I think a lot of times I think I was lucky to get a chance to break through, right? I think from a small kampong, rural folks, and I think get a chance to see a little bit bigger perspective. And I think a lot of times seeing that, I think for me is how to see more people to be able to step through. And I think a lot of times many people have guided me, helped me throughout this journey. I think many people have inspired me, and support us when we starting the journey, when we fail and whatnot, right? So I think I definitely think of so many names, so many people was, and I think that a lot of times is, and I derive joy. I think especially when spending time with the university campuses, spending time with entrepreneurs, spending time with youths, young professionals and whatnot. I think a lot of times is seeing their growth, and a lot of times seeing them transform and go way beyond, right? I think many of them over the years seen them go achieve way bigger things, and a lot of times that's sort of the pride and seeing that journey through, let's say, McKinsey Youth Leadership Academy. I've been in that program mentoring for 12 years. I think seeing quite a lot of the people, US apps, I think been where we did that. This year will be the 16th year. So I think a lot of them is seeing those programs and building on young corporate Malaysians that today this year will be the 13 years. So I think that seeing those journey of these aspects, and a lot of times is that seeing the younger folks taking through that and building it way beyond. So I think it's definitely something that my joy and seeing that. Yeah.
I would not give this to luck, CC. You're kind enough to always say that it's lucky and you're lucky, but I think it's your mindset, your spirit of giving it, sharing it back with the society, because people who help you, now you want to help a few to be able to get to where you are, or even see things from your point of view. Luck happens, but not to ones who do not want it, right? I'm sure that you have worked your way, and I really want to applaud your hard work and hustle as well. But with this, CC, I would love you to share some advices for all our audiences here. Today, many have had hard times like Fave during this pandemic times. Of course, getting outside help, collaboration is definitely a way out of it. How can someone seek investors, seek eyeballs from the right set of partners, collaborators, to be able to help them to not only come out of the problem that they are in, but also expand and grow to new sectors, regions, and so much more?
Yeah, so I think very good question there. I think that one of the things is, I think first is that I think stay calm, and I think evaluate, right? I think which aspects that you want to go through, where you think you want to get through, what help you need, and what can you contribute, what can you put in place, right? So I think of it even in a super tough time, what is it that is still strong for you, and which part of it that is got affected today that will be affected for a long, long time. Which part of it that got affected today that actually will be rebounds fast, and which is the wind, that tailwind they're going to blow through. So how do you align those? And I think of it is that at what stage of your organization or whatnot, I think looking at different people, whether mentor, whether people even getting a coach, whether even like investors, and talking about what kind of investors at what point, right? So I think in the end is that I think investors come in at all different time. In the end, it's just the right value. And I think investors, when they invest in at a certain point, how do they bring it to the next level? And a lot of times the measurement next level is not just monetary. Of course, I think many investors would want a monetary rewards, but I think beyond that, the transformation, the folks that are building in, I think there was once in a session by our investor Saskia Hana in the SIG. I think he was the one of the partner there was talking about back then the bike dance was just started, and I think they was looking at them, and at that time he was like not sure whether this company can grow big, but they invested in their first round, and then they actually ran out of money, and no one invested it. Decided to invest in the second round, and I think eventually ByteDance to get to where it is today. So, and he was like, he said, admittedly, yes, that deals make them billions, but it was not like that time when they first started. He saw that, okay, this is going to be $1 billion, $100 billion kind of company. I think the partner actually said he didn't. He just see that the founder is a very fantastic guy. They seems to be working hard on it, and say, let's bet on it.
So many times it's the founder that investors will actually take note of. Even if the company is not making money, they know they can make money with the right guidance. But if the people is right, that plays such a huge value. I think, CC, that's phenomenal. Thank you for sharing it with us, because these little things play an integral role. When the timing is right and when the situation is right, you don't know when an investor is watching, because as Amrish, the wife, was the introducer, and today it has changed life for everybody, both Pine Labs and Fave. I think, CC, let's get into a rapid fire round. Are you ready for it?
Okay.
Okay, let's do it. So it is the rapid fire where we are going to do a head or a tail round, which is you're going to tell us which one do you relate with the most. And audiences, you can play with us. Just join hands. Choose for CC. Which one will he choose? If you crack it, kudos to you guys. You have really, really come close to know CC inside out. Now, let's get started. All ready, CC?
Okay, yes.
Okay, let's begin with a head or tail round. CC, are you a podcast person or a book person?
I would say podcast.
Okay. Friends or family?
I would say more friends.
How about it's being an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur?
I think entrepreneur.
Okay, that's lovely. Audiences, bring your choices in the comment section and do not miss it out. I'm going to display your answers right up on the screen right here. Bring in the choices that you think CC will take. Do not cheat, guys. And CC, let's take a pause of a second when you're replying so that it gives audiences an opportunity to write in the comment section. Strength or weakness? And we take a pause of a second. Go ahead.
I would say weakness.
Wonderful. Success or failures?
Failures.
Weekday or weekends?
I would say weekend.
Nasi lemak or McD burger?
Nasi lemak.
Okay. And finally, last but not the least, passion or purpose?
I would say purpose.
Not bad. CZ, thank you so much. That was very fast. And I can see audiences commenting in different options right now. Not bad. Many of them has cracked it very close to what you said. Some are still writing in. And that's going to happen. Of course, the answers are going to be displayed on the screen for everybody, guys. Now you know what CC have selected. Thank you for being an amazing, amazing guest on the show here. With this, we are wrapping up the rapid fire. But one last question, CC, for the day is, what's that one thing that you would like to be remembered for as an individual? What would that one thing be?
Yeah. So I think that for this, I think I discussed with one of my colleagues as well, right, on this before. And I think what if today is our last day in the world, what matters? And I think a lot of time maybe my answer is just live each day as if it's the last day. So I don't think I need to be remembered for anything. I think that in the end, it's just that just leave the best on it, and I think just do what you like to do. And as long as you don't harm others, I think go for it, right? I think sometimes you do benefit to others, sometimes it's neutral to others. So I think just go for it, and I think enjoy the ride.
I think, CZ, I would have asked this question to more than 40 guests so far. Nobody has answered this, that they wouldn't want to be remembered for anything. And I have been waiting for a guest to share this answer, to just say one thing. That if ever I'm asked this question, this is the first thing that comes to my mind. I don't want to be remembered for anything. I just want to live it at this point of time and celebrate it right now, and it's done. I don't want that to happen. For the first time, I'm able to find a guest who thinks the way exactly how I feel. No, but I think the internet have realized it, that it's coming to the end, and it's just getting naughty. But yes, CC, thank you so much for being on the show. It was phenomenal to have you in the Double Trouble, and as well as to know your story. I hope you enjoyed and you had a fun time being with us on Linkpreneur Stories.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for having me, Kush, Anil, and great to be in the same panel together with Prantik as well. And I think to all of you all listening, I think all the best. And thanks a lot, Linkpreneur, for having me.
Superb. Thank you so much, CC.
Thank you so much, CC. Oh, and I loved your last question. I was about to say the same thing which Kush mentioned. We've not heard this answer from anyone on the thing which you want to be remembered for your life. Appreciate that. And you're so humble, CC. Really appreciate this.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So with this, guys, you have still an opportunity to be able to win the free ebook from my side, from the entire Salt and Pepper team side, because we wanted to reward everybody who is sharing and tagging their friends in the comment section. So this time, you don't only share, but we also reward you with a booklet in your inbox. So if you want that, just hit the share button, share it with your friends, and tag them in the comment section. And in the next 24 hours, you will see some profile optimization hacks coming in your LinkedIn message inbox.
Yes,
this,
guys, Christmas is in June. It's not in December. We are giving away all our goodie bags to you. Santa is on its way.
I like that. I really like that, Anil. So with this, we are signing off for today. It's been an exciting journey, and I'm so happy to be back on Tuesday. I would love to hear for everybody who's watching us right now, guys, in the comment section. Tuesday or Saturday afternoon, Tuesday evening, Saturday afternoon. Guys, take a pic and give me in the comment section. It's a necessary data point for us to be able to come to you the time which is comfortable for you, because these guests are committing us, are promising us their precious time just to be able to add value to each one of you who are there with us or is going to watch the recording. So please share, take that time, come out of your comfort zone, share with us which one is your favorite time, now or Saturday afternoon. With this, of course, I am not going to leave you guys without asking one big question. I do want to learn, guys, from each one of you. And how does that happen without even asking, guys? I want to know how you involve empathy in your journey. Empathy in your journey. What's your advice for a person who would like to involve or get empathy as a part of their whole journey, in whether it is professional, whether it is parenting, whether it is with friends, family, or with anyone? What's that one advice that you would like to share with everybody, including me and Anil, that can help us bring empathy in everything that we do? Because empathy is definitely one of the strongest pillars to success. I think amazing votes coming in. And Tuesday, please, Tuesday evening, Tuesday evening, Tuesday. Okay, Saturday still works, still at work most of the time. Okay, Tuesday. Lovely, not bad, guys. I am bring this on. And for everybody who's watching the recording, guys, please come back and comment as well, because I would personally be reading your comments and planning for the next one accordingly. And Anil, you were saying something. Over to you.
No, nothing. I was saying, yes, empathy plays a very, very vital role. And like where the Prantik mentioned, it's very important in the corporate life. I remember my first job. I was just a novice getting into things. I was working on a multi-million deal, which was there. And instead of quoting dollars, okay, I quoted INR because I was back in India and I quoted in rupees. And we all know the conversion of dollar and Indian INR was crazy, stupid thing, which I did a mistake. And we were blacklisted as an organization. But despite that, my superiors, my seniors showed empathy towards me because they realized the intent was right. There was nothing wrong what he did. It was a mistake which happened, which could be which could be, of course, change in the way we kind of look at our documentations. And that's why, as an organization, we set up a new practice on how do we manage this. But the empathy was shown towards me because it was a new job. It was just the first 6 months. So I love that. So in corporate life, if you feel the intent was right and it was just a mistake which happened, I think please show empathy. People are there to support you.
Beautiful story, Anil. I loved it personally. It is what who makes us who we are today. Yeah. And I think the passion of just coming out and just doing something out of the box to make sure that you're value adding is a sign of empathy in itself. And we are blessed to have almost more than 50 to 60 guests on the show, spread across the last 9-10 months. And all of them has been always putting across their empathetic side of sharing knowledge every single time. I'm glad we bought this topic. Guys, tell us what topic do you want? Which guest
Yes.
do you want? Feel free to come back to us. Share all of these things, because today we are not doing this for any reason of making money. I mean, there's nothing. It's completely non-profit. The whole idea of running Linkpreneur Story is, of course, a childhood dream of interviewing people and then doing something funny on that side. And surely that was a dream come true last year. But along the lines, I realized how much we as a company enjoy this every single week. And the fun gets bigger when you have amazing people like yourself joining us each time. So do tell us, who do you want? What do you want them to talk about? And thank you for all the amazing advice. Keep on sharing with us. Krishan has it. I can see Amardeep has already got in, and we are still getting votes. It's Saturday for 2 votes just now. I can see it. Bring it on, guys. And we have another LinkedIn user who's saying empathy is an extension of our self-expression. Bring it on. Keep it coming, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to read every single comment later and definitely learn from each one of you. Let's keep.
And don't forget to tell us, how did you like that double trouble? Because this was also a very unique thing which we came out, because we thought to how do we kind of ensure both the guests come on the show and talk to you guys. And this is all for you, the community, the tribe. Do share also in the comments, how did you like the double trouble section?
Yes, guys, excited to meet you again every alternative Tuesday, 8:30 for now, unless we hear otherwise from the team side of it. Yes, and you guys, but yes. Thank you for all the love, guys. A big virtual hug to each one of you. And with this, signing off for today. Have an amazing good night's sleep, or the morning or the afternoon, wherever you are. And please, 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 please take care of yourself. Please take care of yourself. Stay safe. And also, love your family, friends. Be there for them. Be there for them. Yes.
Take your jabs. Don't get scared. It's important in life.
I love that. Yes, guys, go get vaccinated. Bye-bye. Take care.